Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there that's celebrating. And today we're talking about Invasion Episode 8 titled Contact. Look at that poster right there with Sam Neill on it. That was a big lie that he was going to have any part in this show. But besides that, let's take a look at Episode 8, where I think you guys may be surprised on my thoughts on this episode. Like always, we're going to do a quick recap of what happened, maybe theorize, talk about what happened. I'll give you guys my rating for it at the end, quick little review. But let's get into it. Please make sure you like this video, guys, and if you're enjoying it. And please make sure to subscribe if you're new, as we keep up with Invasion and all the other new movies and TV shows. But let's get into it. So the episode begins with Trevante. We see him landing the plane that he got in from last episode. He lands in the UK, which is obviously not where he wants to be. And so he wants to take the first flight out to the US, but the British military officer there that's in charge tells him that there's no planes going out of the UK. There's no planes going at all. He can't leave. But he's free to take the sailboat out if he wants, right? So Trevante, he wants to go see his wife that he promised that he would get back to. And this opening was okay. I think it was sort of weak. I don't think it was great. But let's just continue. From here, we're then brought to Anisha and her family. Right away, I just want to say is that the color palette for the show, it's very dreary. It's very gray at times. Kind of creates like this depressing feel, which I get is maybe like what they're going for, since they're going for like this depressing look at a realistic invasion. But I think just as an audience watching it, it just comes off as tedious to watch, like this dreadful coloring. So I just want to put that out there. Like sometimes the show is way too dark where you can't see stuff, and the other times it's lighter, but it's like gray, so it's just like depressing to watch. I get it's what they're going for, but I still don't really like it. So Anisha and the doctor, they're talking. We learn that the doctor friend is divorced. That's pretty much all that comes out of that conversation. We then go to Mitsuki, who is still being held captive from last episode. Her boss walks in from JASA, and he realizes that they need her to make contact. So they let her go, and they both agree to work together so that they can make contact. From here, we are then brought to Casper. Casper goes to his home to find his mom. He finds his mom there, but she's dead, and she's covered in the black gook. I thought this was actually a good scene. This was probably, like, when I was watching it, like, the best scene of the show, I think, was right here. I think it was actually pretty emotional, and I can see Casper, I know, is a fan favorite for a lot of you guys. So I could see a couple of you guys maybe tearing up during the scene. It was pretty emotional. I thought it was very well done. And it added some sort of, emotional feel to that character. Something that we could, like, at least relate to or attach ourselves onto with Casper. Where I feel like before there was nothing too much there. But the fact that this scene is in the episode, I think, elevated it. I thought it was a good scene, but let's keep moving forward. From here, we're brought back to Trevante, who's walking through the streets of the UK. We see the black alien gook is all over the cars. He keeps walking until eventually we get to see, like, a landscape of the whole UK city. It's all up in smoke. And he sort of realizes like how bad the situation actually is. From here, he goes to a nearby payphone to go call his wife. The wife obviously doesn't pick up, but she leaves a voicemail that's sort of directed to him in case he did call. And so pretty much the voicemail, it's pretty a long, drawn-out voicemail. But it's pretty much, I got the gist of it that maybe they lost a son together. And because of the loss of their son, their relationship sort of grew apart. And so it's kind of like her telling him that it's not her fault. And sort of this whole big thing. I thought this was another good emotional scene, with some great cinematography too. The only negative is that it was drawn out. It was a little bit drawn out. The writing is still a little bit over dramatic here, and it goes on for just a little bit too long. To where I think if it was cut down a little bit shorter, it would have been a lot more impactful. But overall, I think it did what it had to do. It was a good scene. I will say that, and it did bring some emotion. So to go back to back with Casper and his mom, which was emotional, and go to this with Trevante and his wife, two back to back emotional scenes, like. I couldn't help but think like, okay, this was good. I would rather watch these two scenes than what we've been getting so far. After this, we're brought back to Anisha, who's walking in the hallway with her doctor friend. They decide to just like make out, and they make out. She admits that she's not a doctor, but more importantly, she talks about her alien encounter. She loves talking without like saying any context to the person she's talking to. You ever realize that? So she's like just starts mumbling, and she's like, "We would have died without it," and he's like, "Without what?" And then, like, that's how it ends. Obviously, she's referring to the alien metal thing that she used to kill the alien. That I don't really have a good name for yet. We called it Dragon Glass from Game of Thrones for a couple of times. I kind of want to just call it that. And so, obviously, it's referring to that. And that's sort of how that scene ends. We then see her kid, Luke, who met some new friend named Jack. They go down to the morgue. They sneak down there. Where they see, I think, a human covered in the alien gook. And the friend Jack is like, "Oh, my dad said the aliens are going to kill everyone." And then Luke is like, "Oh, but my mom killed someone." And then he's like, "How? That's impossible." And then that scene ends with Luke about to take out the metal thing from his backpack, and that scene ends. We then get a quick scene with Mitsuki, who opens up comms with Hoshi 12. Quick little scene that just shows that they are now able to make contact as they open up the comms. We go back to Casper and the girl he likes. they start talking. He thinks that he could stop the aliens. He wants to go find the girl's mom at the hospital. And he explains his connection with the aliens pretty much. He says that whenever he seizes, he's able to see those images that he draws. So he brings out these drawings. They're all like black darkness stuff. And he says that the darkness is sort of like he can breathe it, he can taste it. And again, I thought this scene was pretty good as well. I think Casper the Kitty does a good job. I think just the writing again, the line delivery, still comes off a little bit cringe sometimes. I find that with a couple of scenes, it just doesn't flow as well as it should. But, a fine scene, definitely fine. Casper and the girl, they start walking, presumably towards the hospital, I guess. They see the military, the UK military, shooting up at an alien that's scaling the building. A quick, cool little scene, of seeing like an actual, somewhat of a battle in this invasion show. We see the military shooting up at an alien as it's scaling the wall. It's very quick, but it was cool. I wish we got a little bit more of that here and there throughout the show. So they go into a nearby bar, and there is where they find Trevante, which is our first time we get to see, two of these main characters finally meet. And so Casper wants Trevante to escort them to the hospital since they see him as a military person, and he's supposed to help them, right? He doesn't want to go to the hospital. He says no. They argue about who's seen more shit. This is where I realized that I think Trevante was miscasted with this actor. And I think the actor is good. He's a very good actor. I think that the character was supposed to be a little bit more gritty and like intimidating, where I think the actor has such like a welcoming face and he seems like a nice guy, that whenever he like says some lines, like I don't believe it. Like he's like, he says something, like he curses at Casper, saying some sort of line. And I just didn't believe it. I felt like this, like a different actor was supposed to play him, because this actor doesn't really, I just don't believe it. Maybe that's just me though. That could just be me. It could also just be the writing for the character. I'm not sure. That's just something I want to put out there. So Casper shows Trevante his drawings, and he's trying to convince him that, he's got some sort of connection and to go with them. Trevante doesn't really believe him. He thinks it's all like bullshit. He's flipping through the pages. So finally he sees one drawing that has this skull patch on it, and it's the same skull patch that he's currently wearing. So I guess this convinces him that maybe this kid knows something, that he should help him. So he agrees to escort them to the hospital. So now the ending of the episode, it's with Anisha, who goes to the morgue. She goes downstairs where they're staying. She finds Luke, who has the black metal thing out, and he's like holding it close to the corpse with the black gook on it. And like the metal thing is like reacting with the corpse, like a little bit. It's like little tinglings like that. It's not really reacting. I don't know what it is. Like it's like they know they're near each other, so like they go like that, And there's that scene that ends. Then we go to Mitsuki, who I thought this scene was dumb. It's like she's sending the files of her girlfriend, Hinata, I think is how you say it. And she loves her, and she's sending it to Hoshi 12 through the comm. She's sending a bunch of files, and it's videos of the girl. Like, it's just videos of her saying, "Oh, this is a tree." Like, I don't know. It was supposed to be really powerful. I didn't really believe it. I just felt sort of dumb, as Mitsuki was obviously tired. She's like mumbling the whole time. I thought they were just trying to make it too powerful than what it really was. So Mitsuki sort of falls asleep during this. But then they hear like that wajo sound, that whatever that sound that the aliens are making, that we don't really know like what that sound even means. But she hears it. She gets up. She goes to the comms. She puts on her headphones, and she says Hinata with a question mark. She's like thinking it's her. And that's how the episode ends. So for a pretty decent episode, I thought that the ending was sort of weak. But overall, my rating for the episode is actually a 2.7 out of 5, which isn't great. I wouldn't call it good. I think it could be good. It's like borderline good. I think it still has a couple of problems that are holding it back. And we do get like 2 out of the 4 plots like moving forward in a really, good way. I think, the 2 emotional scenes with Trevante and Casper, I thought those were really good. They were both really solid, and I appreciated that. It was the first time I actually felt something for these characters. When before I didn't care for these characters at all. I didn't like them, honestly. But when you give us a good emotional scene with Casper finding his mom, it makes it more real. And I do like Casper a little bit more now from that scene. And the same thing with Trevante in the payphone, him, talking to his wife, maybe realizing that they lost a son together. It adds more like trauma to him that I wish we had in those beginning episodes. It would have made us, relate to him more, connect with him more. But to have it, all happen in episode 8, like so late, like those past episodes still exist. I still don't like those, but I thought this was a good step moving forward. And so, Anisha, her plot doesn't really move forward too much. She makes out with the doctor, for like the soap opera, stuff that's been going on in the show. I guess that's like interesting. The Thing reacts with the gook. Luke, the son, has the metal thing react with the gook. We could have guessed that. That's nothing crazy. And then Mitsuki, her plot moving forward stuff, it wasn't anything crazy. They finally opened up contact with Hoshi 12. And then we have the signal come in, which is, I guess we'll see what happens in next episode. But I thought Mitsuki, the stuff with her could have been a little bit better. It doesn't move forward that much. But I think Trevante and Casper really saved this episode for me. I thought they were standouts for this episode. Still, like I said, still not good, I don't think. But I could see a lot of people enjoying this episode, really liking it a lot. Especially if you've been liking these episodes. I think this would be the best one that you've seen so far. I think the things that are holding it back is still like that dreary feel that I'm not really a big fan of. I still think the writing is still bad at times. And that's what's holding the show back. But I will say that this episode does give me a little bit more hope that maybe these next 2 episodes keep the ball rolling and maybe the show ends like in some sort of decent way. I'm not still fully convinced, but I did like the pacing of this show. I did like how we got to see, all the plots moving forward. It's not just them going around in circles. Anisha sort of goes around in circles still. Mitsuki is able to at least to open up the comms. But Trevante and Casper, the fact that the episode did focus on them a lot and they did move their plots forward and we got to know more about them, see more of them. Casper explains his connection with the darkness and the aliens. I thought that was still pretty interesting. But still, it's nothing new. Like I said, bad writing still. But let me know what you guys thought of the episode down below. Did you think it was better? Do you guys agree with me? Did you guys enjoy it a little bit more? Or are you guys still just not a fan? You just don't care anymore? And whatever they put at you, you guys are still hate watching. I know a lot of us are still hate watching. I try to go into every episode with an open mindset. I do. And I think that helps my watch a little bit more. But let me know down below. I love talking to you guys about this. So thank you guys for making these videos so popular. I enjoy it. I enjoy making them. And let me know what you guys thought. Please like this video if you guys have been enjoying it. Please subscribe if you're new. And I will see you all in the next video. Have a great rest of the day. Have a great holiday if you guys are celebrating. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys.